Talking to you, Harry. Great to have you on.
Thanks, Dwayne. Good to be back on.
We're talking to you about health as well during the course of these segments, and it is a big space that you're active in. So let me just jump to a couple of the health attached to your current predicament spaces, because we're wondering where you're at in terms of your enthusiasm level. How do you keep it up right now, given that you haven't won a game?
Yeah, it definitely is a challenge at the moment, especially being in the leadership group now at the club. It's been a big focus of ours. But to be honest, our belief and our positivity around the club has still been up, and we're working really hard, so hard to try and turn this around and find all different ways to get the boys up and work out why we are playing the way we are playing and the way to go forward. And I think we're definitely taking massive steps behind the scenes, like the leadership of the club, and the belief isn't there at the moment because we're not playing well and there's no evidence of us playing well, but we have belief in ourselves. It's just getting that belief to come out. And once we play a good game or get a win, I'm sure we're just going to build on that. But it looks like we're not making any progress, but behind the scenes, we definitely are.
So the mechanisms, there'll be a lot of people listening to this that are having down times that can't get things right. What do you do? What are the mechanisms that you do in your health space to make sure you stay positive, to keep your mind focused and sharp?
Yeah, for me, it's all about consistency. So it's finding different ways that I can add little things into my routine to make my days consistent, because that's when I'm at my best, and that's when I guess I can control everything. So little things like going for a walk every day in the morning, getting up at the same time. I've been massive on that at the moment, is going to bed at the same time and getting up at the same time. It's good for your circadian rhythm. And
so explain that to me again. Good for your...
I think it's circadian rhythm. I'm pretty sure that's
all right.
And that's really good for your mental health, and just getting in a routine. Your body gets used to waking up and going to bed at the same time, so your systems are all functioning at the same time. Eating at the same time, eating healthy, in the same routine. And I've actually started reading a lot more before bed and trying to put my phone away. That's something I've been big on, doing a lot of breath work, just to get into a more parasympathetic state. So that's something I'm doing a bit of research on at the moment, which is breath work. So there's a sympathetic state. That's when you're in your fight or flight mode, and that's when you're high stress and a bit more wired, which is a big part of our lifestyle as a footballer. So I'm just trying to find different ways to relax and get reduce that stress at times. So
talk me through breath work for those people who want to try it at home. What do you do to calm yourself down? Is it?
There's so many different types of breath work. There's nose breathing, mouth breathing. You can go for a longer session. You could do meditation. I'm still learning in the space. I'm finding different methods that work for me. I don't spend too much time on it. I just do 10 minutes before bed, or just when I want to chill out, I do a little bit. I'm just learning about the space now, but I feel like it's working. So
can you give me an example of it? Because I've seen a few examples where it might be, 6 seconds in, hold, 7 seconds out, that kind of stuff. Is that the realm of what you're talking about?
Yeah. So the one I'm doing at the moment more regularly is right before bed. I'm doing nose breathing only. It's 4 seconds in and 6 seconds out. And that's meant to, so when you breathe in, I think it's more sympathetic, and then when you breathe out, it's parasympathetic out of your nose. And so if you breathe out for longer, then you're getting that more parasympathetic response, which is more relaxing, which is good before bed and reduces your heart rate and relaxes you. So, you have a better sleep.
You also talked about goal setting, and I've talked to many a North Melbourne player on this show this year, pre-season, including yourself, and the goal set was you want to win, it was pretty much 7 or 8 games, or the aspiration was even to, can we challenge for the 8? So now you're winless. What do you do in terms of your goal setting? Because right now you haven't met the goals that you set pre-season.
Yeah, that's why for me, it's so hard to set goals for your team or something that's a bit more out of your control. So it's not selfish, but I feel like for goal setting for an individual in a team, it's more about what they can control. So that's what I've done. I read a book. It's called Grit. It's by a psychologist named Angela Duckworth, and it's about different types of goal setting. It's setting high-level goals, mid-level goals, and low-level goals. And your high-level goals are your long-term goals that you want to achieve, and your mid-level goals are things that can help you get there, and then your low-level goals are things that you can do every day that help you get to your mid-level goals, which help you get to your high-level goals. So it's all about staying on your path, what you want to achieve. So everything else is kind of irrelevant. So you're making sure you're on the right track, and everything you do is centered towards achieving what you want to achieve.
So in essence, you're not looking at a team goal this week or a team goal where you want to be in a month's time. You're looking at what Harry Sheezel can do to get Harry Sheezel through the little tick boxes to get himself to his specific goal, which is obviously being part of a win.
Yeah, for sure. So that's my goal setting side of it. So I'm controlling on what I can control, but obviously I have goals for the team as well,
Yes.
but they're less structured. They're more process focused. So obviously I want to win this week. And
Yes.
it's what I can do to help us win and what I can do as a leader to help others and get the most out of others.
Can you give me an indication, and it's going into your private world, but
Yeah.
what your goals are that you've got set for yourself in the coming week or the coming month or the coming day?
Oh yeah, I can give you an example of like some low level goals that I do. So like the day to day things that I try and tick off that help me accomplish those long term goals, which are a bit more private. So it's little things. So I do extra handball touch every main day at the club. So I have this little routine that I do right before I leave every day. It's doing those hot colds like I spoke about a couple of weeks ago on every main training day. And my Pilates, it's eating according to my diet, my whole food diet, and little things like that.
And your long-term goals, what are you aspiring to get when it comes to on the field? So when you are trying to judge your own performance, because you'll have your goals in game, when it comes to judging your own performance, how do you judge because as we mentioned, you had 38 possessions against the Cats a few weeks ago in a 75-point loss.
Yeah.
So it would look like you've had a good game, but you might not have actually achieved the goals that you tried to set for yourself in that game, even though the number you got looked pretty good.
Yeah. I don't set goals for a game. So I don't go into a game saying I want X amount of touches or I want X amount of marks. It's more the role I play for the team. So my game day goals are all about my role for the team, and that's irrelevant to my high, mid, and low level goals, which are more consistent. But according to that, like about my game day role, I measure that, I guess, with my line coach. I have a plan going into the game, and then I review it after the game, and then we tinker with my role and what I need to work on that week to execute that.
Is there a work rate or is there a kicking efficiency where you've had a successful day because your kicking efficiency was high, or you ran a certain amount of kilometres, or you had a certain amount of speed runs? Is there a few of those parameters within game?
No, not. I don't have any of those. It's all, I think, dependent on the game.
And let's answer a few of the questions on the text because they're coming through thick and fast. 0433 98 11 16. Can I give you the obvious one because it's been asked a million times and we've been asking it a million times this year? When's Harry Sheezel moving into the midfield? So let me just throw that one straight at you and then we'll come back after the news and ask some more.
Yeah, well, it's a constant conversation I'm having with people at the club, and then also a lot of people, like you said, have asked me outside the club, and it is hard because I'm not too sure what that looks like, when it happens, if it happens.
But it might happen this week. You sort of look like you believe that you could get the tap on the shoulder any moment from Alistair Clarkson to say, Harry, you're in the midfield.
Yeah, I feel like that could happen. To be honest, I'm not sure. I'll find out tomorrow at match committee. That's the way it goes. I'm always open-minded to the role I play. Like I played the last quarter there last week, so maybe that was the transition. But yeah, Clarko, I think, also does it week to week. I think the long-term plan is to move to a more mid-forward role, and it'll be interesting to see when he does move me there or if he does move in there, because we obviously aren't going too well at the moment. So if it'll be more for my development to get me in there and start learning now when we maybe aren't going as well. So I am ready for when we are,
And you walk in here and you put a spring in my step. I see the smile on your face and the positivity. I see you every week. I watch your games every week, and sometimes I broadcast your game and wonder whether you've improved as a team and where you're headed to, North Melbourne. And yet you walk in here and you make me think that North Melbourne's on a positive journey to somewhere. And for some reason, it seems like the win-loss ratio hasn't affected your demeanour at all.
Yeah, and like I said before, it doesn't feel like that at the club as well. And we are working so hard and sticking true to the process, and we're so stable. Like the wins aren't there, and the outside noise is there, and it may seem like it's all doom and gloom at the club, but it's the complete opposite. And I think that's what's so important for us at the moment, is to stay strong, stay stable, stay consistent with our messaging as coaches, as leaders, and try and just find that belief because it can turn so quickly.
Need to ask the question, though. The AFL website has said that North's culture is a mess. There's an article there, and I read those, and I see you every week, and I wonder where you're headed. How do you go when you read that kind of story? What's your thoughts on where your culture is at?
Yeah, I don't believe that at all. I think our culture is incredible. I think we have a group of boys that are so... I think we get along so well, and we all are so bought into our process and what we want to do. And I don't agree with the training standards being poor. We're always looking at ways to improve and challenge each other. I think that's maybe a space that we can improve on, is challenging each other and being a bit harder edged. And we're working at that as a leadership group. And yeah, I don't think it's too fair to make those comments, because a lot of people don't see what goes on day to day behind the scenes. And we're working so hard, and we hold each other to high standards, and we have a process that we're buying into.
So the article does suggest that your training standards haven't been quite as good as they could be. You haven't been at other clubs and you're still young, so you probably haven't necessarily got the body of experience to get a comparison.
Yep.
But you've got Alistair Clarkson there who has. How does he convince you? How do you convince yourselves that your training standards are as good as any club at the top end of the ladder?
Yeah, we don't really focus on other clubs, but we always have the conversation every week as a leadership group. How are our training standards? How are we going? Do we think we're getting the most out of our sessions? And we're very honest about that. Some weeks it's a no, some weeks it's a yes, but more often than not it is a yes, and we are challenging each other. And we have a young group that are really working hard to try and turn this around and this rough start around, and we have the belief that we will do that if we keep buying into the process. And I think we all believe that the training that we're doing, the process that we're on, is the right process, and we will get there.
So Alistair Clarkson, I think, is or the North Melbourne Footy Club are going to put a video out. So that's not far away from landing, I don't think, on the North Melbourne website. But your message, if you can, to the fans out there who wonder whether you're on the right path or not, your message to those guys and girls who are turning up to watch your home games as often as they can?
Oh, it's to believe in the future, and to just not want to change what we're doing right now. Like, it may seem that this is the wrong pathway that we're on, but it's definitely not. We believe so truly internally that the process we're on now, the people that we have at the club, the stability in the coaching staff, the young group that's going to grow together, is definitely the right method. And we have Clarko and Todd Viney who have done there. They've done it before, and they've seen, I guess, what you need to reach success, and they've seen the progression from teams that have struggled to teams that have got there in the end. And they are so adamant that we have that formula to create that success.
There's talk that you should be fast-tracked to become the next captain.
Yeah. Look, I don't think that's really fair on Luke and Jai. I think they're the first to admit their on-field performance at the moment isn't up to the standard of a captain, and but behind the scenes they are unbelievable leaders, and they have done an incredible job for our group as leaders, and inspiring us and working so hard to find ways to keep that belief in us and turn this around and challenge standards. And they are, I think, unbelievable leaders, and they're still growing as well. But I think that's very unfair on them to suggest that I should be the captain of the club at 19 years old when I'm just learning off them. Like, they're mentors for me. So, I don't really buy into that at all. And I fully support Luke and Jai and think they're definitely the right people for the job.
Would you like to captain North one day?
I think so. I'm not too sure 100%. I am very, I do enjoy the leadership space. I think I'm growing so much in that space this year and learning so much each week. And especially we're struggling at the moment, and I think I'm learning so much because of that. And all of us are learning so much because of that. And I think it's setting us up for when we are successful and when we deal with adversity down the line, that we're going to be so well prepared for that, because we are struggling at the moment and we are facing so much adversity that it's just making us even stronger leaders. And Luke and Jai definitely have been great at that.
Why are they down? Why is Luke and Jai down?
I think it's a byproduct of the way we're playing at the moment. They're playing in pretty selfless roles. Jai, he's early on in his career, and he's won 2 BNFs in the midfield. He kind of played a more sacrificial half-forward role, and he's still getting a bit of midfield time now. And Luke's in the back line that's under siege. We're conceding a lot of inside 50s, and it's coming in too easily. And I think it's putting a lot of pressure on them. And I think it's so unfair to criticise just their performances and saying that they're the reason why we're struggling, because that's not true. I think it's a byproduct of the way we're all going.
It seems as if there's going to be a raid on North Melbourne. We're hearing stories about St Kilda and other teams wanting Luke Davies-Uniacke. Do you feel like there might be some players in the club at the moment that might be wavering in their commitment long-term to the club?
I haven't really had the conversation with them at all about it, but all I know is they're part of the journey and they're part of that group. And Luke and Cam Zerha's another one that there's been a lot of talk about it, but day to day, I see them so invested in our club, and they're training hard, and they more than anyone want to win. And I don't blame them for wanting to do that. And I think for the time they're at the club, they're going to give 100% everything, and hopefully they stay on, and hopefully we start winning games to make them want to stay on, because they definitely want to be there, and they're definitely giving it all for us right now, and hopefully that extends.
And Saints this week, big game, winnable game though.
Yeah, every game's winnable. We go into every game thinking we can win, and we go into every week thinking this could be the week that turns it around. So hopefully it's this week.
Great to have you, Harry. Always great to have you in. So many texts coming through. It's a delight for me to have you part of this program. Thanks to the people at Temper. The difference is Temper, T-E-M-P-U-R, and the wellness space is something you'll continue to hear Harry on this program with. And there's a few on the text already talking about the breathing and the other aspects of your off-field life that they're tapping into as well. Great to have you.
Awesome. No, thanks, Dwayne. I really appreciate it.